Yeah, Ayush, hey Onkar, welcome to the event.
Hi, Diksha. Am I audible?
Hey
Yeah,
Diksha, how are you doing?
yeah, I'm doing good. How are you doing? Okay, so we will be starting in a couple of minutes. We'll wait for the others to join.
Sure. Just confirm me, like my voice is clear. I mean, is there any glitches?
Yeah, it is clear.
Okay.
So Tejasvi will be the host for this event. So
Hi,
Hi
Tejasvi.
Ayush.
How are you, boss?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, boss. And by the way, what do you do? I mean, you are a third year undergrad or a pre-final? I mean, fourth
Yeah,
year
actually,
grad?
me and Deeksha are parallel. I'm
Okay.
currently doing my 3 semester.
Okay, so you are also into GDSC.
Yeah, I'm the marketing team lead of TCS.
Okay, and how's the role? Like, do you enjoy working in the marketing field or,
Sorry?
I mean, are you enjoying your work in the marketing field or you are just exploring the other domains?
Yeah, I was actually planning to go with the other fields as well, but just looking for a better opportunity.
All right.
yeah, 2 more minutes we can start, I guess.
Yeah, done.
Yeah, I think we can start. We have some members here. So I think people will eventually like join, but yeah, I think it's better to start now.
All right. Sure.
Sure. So, hi Ayush.
Hey Tejashvi.
Hi. So today we have Ayush as like as he is the founder of Skill Valley, and I'm just giving you guys a brief introduction about Ayush. So he'll just take over this. He is the founder of Skill Valley and he's a student in SGS College as well. And let me highlight the point that he has raised over 1 million for the funding of his business. So over to you, Ayush.
Okay, all right, Tejasvi. Okay, so before jumping into directly like what the points are written, if you can guys just tell me about like what you want me to cover up the points. There are a lot of things to cover up in the startup thing, like from building the team, from personal branding, from the startup journey. I mean, there are a bunch of topics that it's an unending topic. So if you guys can just tell me what specific thing if you want me to discuss, or just I can start with what I have prepared for the session.
So basically, we were actually expecting you to give us something like your inputs on how we are actually going to, if and if else if we are gonna have some business in for ourselves. Like we have people who are actually doing in the software engineering field, but many of them wants to expand their wings in other fields as well, which they're actually planning to put up the businesses as well. So we were hoping you could give us few of the inputs. So we could actually kickstart something for ourselves.
All right, got it. So before jumping, directly, I would like to be. I want the audience to be interactive, and please don't use Instagram in between. Like I will be asking the questions randomly, so
Definitely not.
be prepared for that. But yeah, so see, what I would suggest to any fresher is that starting a startup is not a thing. Before starting a startup, there is a lot of things we need to take care of. First of all, is I mean, simple question is why is it important to explore yourself? Like when you are a founder, when you are building something, you will be exploring yourself, your domain, your team. There will be a hell lot of a topic where you will not be knowing throughout the domain. आप क्या करने वाले हो? There are a lot of things. So it's very important to explore yourself. Explore as in ki, for an instance, let's take an example. Ki, uh, Omkar wants to start a startup, okay, but Omkar doesn't have a experience, how he should start a startup, how he should validate his idea, how he should form a team, how the organization works, and there are a lot of the things where while you will be building a startup, there will be a very large amount of difficulties. There are a lot of things that you will come across. So it's very important to explore yourself, know about yourself. The example would be key. As you guys are part of a GDSC club, okay, you guys are working in a different domain. For instance, Tejasvi is handling marketing, Diksha is leading the GDSC club, Manju is handling the content and graphic design. So, when you start exploring yourself, you will know the points, weak points, your positive points, where where you are liking, where your the strong points are. I mean, when you start exploring yourself, you will get to know about yourself. It's as simple as that. And the corporate world works very differently. When you go into a startup, uh, there is a different culture. When you go into a corporate world, there is a different culture. uh, when you work in a college clubs, there is a different culture. In a college club, you will be working in a group. I mean, you are friends there in your college. You are working with your college group. But when you go into a startup, there will be a team, but you are working for someone else. There will be a lot of things you will get to learn throughout the journey. Startup is a something it's a roller coaster ride. Uh, and working in a corporate culture is very different from the startup. I mean, if you're working in a corporate culture, it's good that you're working in a corporate culture if you want to explore yourself into the corporate culture. But I would suggest in the first 5 years of your life, from 20 to 25, work in a startup. Why I would recommend working in a startup is as simple as that you will get to learn a lot of the things. For instance, in my team, everyone is handling everything. It's as simple as that. Like Omkar is handling growth, same time he's handling HR. Anushka is handling tech, same time he's handling podcast. Ria is handling podcast, same time she's handling content writing. So you will get to know a lot of different domains when you are working in a startup, from graphic designing, from tech development, to working in a team. And before starting a startup, work on your leadership skills. It's very important. Indirectly or directly, you are going to lead the team. You are going to lead your vision. You will have to convince the people uh, about your startup to join your startup, basically. So start exploring yourself, know about your weak points, know about your journey, like where you want to be in your life. Not everyone is meant to be start a startup. I'm starting, actually hota kya, social media पर there is a culture कि starting a startup is a very cool thing. And let me tell you, with my experience, it's not a cool thing. I've been burning myself for the last 1.5 year. I know how it's difficult to work in a startup, especially if you're a startup founder. There's a lot of things go in a hand to hand. Your personal life will be, in a mess. Professional life will be in a mess, and studies will be in a mess. You will have to manage everything parallelly, and that comes with the time management. That comes with the by exploring yourself, how you are exploring yourself, your weak points, or everything. So start exploring yourself. Uh, it's the first point that I would like to say here. And the second thing is, as I said, you don't need to start a startup, boss. I mean, it's not a compulsory thing to start a startup. You can be, soaring your heights without even starting a startup. You can work in a team. There are a lot of people, who's not working in a startup, but they are well paid in a market. They are well educated. They are well, society driven. Uh, as simple as that. Key work on yourself. It's very important. Okay, and the next part comes here is personal branding. For an instance, let's take an example. You guys in a college, even I am in a college, okay? And when you start a startup, there are two cases. Either you have a very strong community on an offline basis. In your college, you are a very famous person, and when you start a startup, there will be 1,000 people or 100 people to support you in your initial stage. And there is another case ki you are an introvert or you don't like socializing in the offline basis or online basis. So personal branding is a something, it will help you in distribution. It will help you in gaining the customers at the initial level. For an instance, like what do the founders generally do on a social media is they start building a social media presence. For instance, let's take an example. Ki Diksha is into a content writing, okay? And she started building her content on a social media, on a Twitter, on a LinkedIn, on a Medium, on a different platform. And there are tons of people named like a Diksha, named like a Ayush, named like a Kansha, named like a Pratik. There are a lot of people. And we don't exist in a huge world. We need to make our presence in the world. How will the world know that Ayush exists and Ayush is building something? Even like Ayush has a certain kind of a skills. How will the world know? How will the world know that I am working on a something or even I have a certain kind of skills? How will I get into the knowledge of the recruiter? So it's as simple as let me give you an example how you can build a personal brand even if you're not starting a startup. I mean there are two different theories for building a personal brand. If you are focusing into building a startup and if you are focusing on building a personal brand and you are focusing on the job part. So when it comes to a job part, don't rely on your college placements. I mean what you can do is suppose you are working on a web development ticket and for an instance, just start building the project and post it on a social media. Just take a screenshot, post it on a social media कि you built something, so and so features using this tags or that tag, ठीक है? And you can just put it on a social media. Be shameless on a social media. No one cares about you, man. I mean, if you think what the people will think about me while I'm posting this, no one really cares about you what you are doing unless and until you are a very famous person. So initial stage pay, what you can do is start posting about yourself, what you are building, what kind of a content you are trying to push. If you are a content writer, just start writing threads on a top popular topics or your domain. Start posting on a social media. When you start posting on a social media on a day one, your content will be not a top notch. It will improve by day. Like on a day one, you will write something and you will think, yeah, okay, this is my best content. On day two, it will improve, one step. It's like a climbing a stairs, one step at a time. So when you start posting a content on a social media or about your skills that you are building something, there will be two things happening at the same time. First thing, you will be getting a social media reach. I mean, then you will be making community around your topic. For instance, if you are posting up something related to web development, so there will be people who will be supporting you if you are building a project. There will be people who will be supporting you if you are building a content writing strategy on a social media. So you will build a community around yourself. You will get followers around yourself. ठीक है? And second thing is you will be in a reach of the recruiters. When you are famous on social media, uh, most likely 99% chances are there कि you will be in the reach of the recruiters. Like even what we do right now in a hiring process, we just go on a Twitter, we just post it on a social media that hey, we are hiring so and so, and someone from the community will recommend the third person. I mean, for an example, if Diksha is good at web development, okay, so when I post a hiring, okay, I'm hiring for a web development intern. For instance, let's take an example. I'm hiring for a web development intern. So as she's building a personal brand over a long period of time, Pratik might, tag Diksha in my comment. Ki, hey, Diksha is good at web development. You can check her profile. And what I can do instantly, I can just drop a message or we can get on a call with the Diksha. Ki, okay, Diksha, I just heard about you from the community and I've seen the project. Let's get on a call and then we can maybe by seeing her project, I can hire directly. So this is the way, two ways this is working. And plus, even if you're not looking for a starter, let's come to a job point. It's over. Let's then come to startup thing. So I'm building a skill valley. I'm building a speaker. Okay. When I start documenting my journey on a social media, when I start posting ki what I am building, when I start posting about my team, like how my team is performing, what did I achieve, like I start, I like, you know, it's as simple as that. Like I was on 500 followers on Twitter, and when I posted about the funding thing that we raised a fund on Skill Valley, my account got into a boom. Like I got almost 300 followers within the 3 days. So you can imagine ki how leveraging the social media works. And by the term leveraging social media, I've made a lot of connections through very big companies founder. Like I'm in touch with almost very big founders. Why? What I do is my strategy. Let me tell you my strategy. What I generally follow. For instance, if you want to connect with some founder of a company X, okay, what you can do is just go on their profile, on a LinkedIn profile or a Twitter profile, and analyze where the follower reach is low. For instance, if my follower is high on a LinkedIn and low on a Twitter, just get in touch with me on a Twitter and don't directly jump by sending me a message. What you can start with, what I generally follow is guys, for a 2 or 3 days or a 5 days or a 10 days, I engage into the other founders' tweets. I will just drop a meaningful comment. Ki, hey, you just dropped your content. I love this content. It's totally relatable with me. There are like just drop a meaningful comment on the others comment section on a tweet or on a post, and 90% chances are there you will get in the reach of that founder. And the 11th day, what I just do is I just drop them a message. Ki, hey, I'm so and so. I'm building Skin Valley. I wanted to exchange notes with you. Can we get on a one-to-one call on a Zoom call? And because you interacted with the founder, most likely he or she will just feel okay. I will just do a one-to-one. And this is how I'm building a connection on a social media. Second step is don't change your DP frequently. I mean, the profile photo. Keep one profile photo on every platform, one username on every platform. Let's suppose if I am using a different DP on a LinkedIn and different DP on a Twitter, and I'm changing my profile photos frequently. So on a daily to daily basis, I am interacting with a lot of my people. How will I remember who is she? It's just the mental model that I just captured the image. Okay, yellow color DP is Ayush DP, blue color DP is Akansha's DP. So I just remember your profile using your profile picture. So don't change that username thing and start interacting with the experts. Just drop a meaningful comment uh, in their comment and just pitch, hey, I wanted to interact with you. Even if you are looking for a job, just drop your portfolio in their chat box. I mean, in their message box. Hey, I'm building something. I have built almost 11 projects, and here's the proof of work. You can just check if I'm relevant for the job. So this is where you can leverage your personal brand. One more thing, what I follow, I started following recently after back 6 months back is I started doing one-to-one meet. When I pitch someone for a one-to-one meet, what I generally do is we are on a video call, okay? At the end of the one-to-one meet, I just take a screenshot of that meet and I post it on a social media. By doing this, there will be two options. There are two edge cases basically. First thing, people will know that hey, okay, Ayush is building something and he is open to connect. I mean, there might be a chance that people will reach out to you. Okay, here I'm facing this issue. I wanted to get in touch with you. I think you can help me. I get a lot of DMs regarding this after I started posting multiple minute screenshot. Second thing is, for instance, if I am posting a screenshot of the founder, like the meeting that I have done with the founder, he or she will like the post. He or she will just drop a comment on my post. Yeah, it was a great to interact with you. And my post will get into her domain as well, like her connection or his connection. So when I approach his or her connection for something, so they will instantly remember, okay, Ayush interacted with the Diksha. So I mean, if Diksha is interacted with Ayush, so we can take a bet. Let's interact with him. So this is the way it's working on a social media. And when you start posting on a social media, it's as simple as that you will get in a reach, आपको reach मिलती रहेगी. And at the end, you should crave for the reach. I mean, people will say कि just build up content, but at the end, your goal should be on getting a reach, getting a followers. At the end, you need to be famous on a social media. There are a lot of use. How can I differentiate myself from millions of people? How can I mark my presence in a social media? So building a personal brand is very important, even if you're not starting a startup or even if you are looking for a job change. So start building a personal brand. It's as simple as that. Don't think about ki how like why people will judge me or what they will think of me if I'm posting this. No one really cares. Plus, there is one downside you guys should be familiar about is when you are famous on a social media or when you put something content some content on a social media, there will be people who will just drag you down. I mean, recently something happened with me. I was building a speaker, like I'm still building a speaker, and basically, Speak Up is a platform where we are helping girls to speak up about their problems. So he's sympathy for the girls. I mean, he started tagging me in the different kind of social media accounts. I was getting a lot of abuse in my chat section. My number got viral. So there were a lot of things, but what helped me during that problem is I built a strong community, strong connection with the people. And what happened is कि when he started posting hate against me, people came in support of me without me telling कि hey मेरे को problem हो रहा है आप आ जाओ. No, they instantly come in a support of me. They know me कि okay Ayush is doing something, let's support this boy. So this happens like if you are building a community, if you are building a personal connection, people will support you without anything. Like if you are in a problem, if you are in a happy mood, if you are achieving something, people will be there to support you. And third point is, while building a connection, never go for a, if you want something. For instance, uh, if I go for a one-to-one meeting, if I think I need some help, I mean, I can take some advantage from this person. You will never build a personal relationship. Building a relationship is something that takes 1 year or 2 years with the people. आप किसी के साथ ऐसे connection नहीं बना सकते. It's just as simple as that. So stop looking for the taking advantage from the third person. You will be getting some advantage if I'm connected with this person. If I'm getting if you are exchanging your number, you will be getting advantage. No, I will be helping only if I'm connected to the third person. Why will I help? In extreme cases, why will I help the unknown person whom I don't know? I just interacted for the first time. So build a relationship in a meaningful manner, like just as a normal. You really want to build a relationship, not just as a formality. So these are the points that you need to focus on personal branding. First, do one-to-one meet. Start posting the content. Same ratio. Don't uh, get feared about what the people will think, and show your proof of work. Like start interacting with the experts in the room and build your community. So this is the personal branding thing that I would recommend for anyone to start. Also, there is one other feature on Twitter called Twitter Spaces. If you guys are aware of that. So if you are expert into something or if you know about any topic, just start hosting the spaces or you can join the spaces. You can interact with a lot of people on a voice call. It's as simple as that. You can share your knowledge. You will build instantly the connection over there. So this is all about the personal branding. Okay, now comes the startup part. So you focused on the personal branding and how you are planning to start a startup. So there will be a case कि you got the idea, now you want to build a team. How will you build a team? I mean, just as simple that how will you build a team when you are starting a startup? What I followed in my first startup is I started my first startup with my best friend. And one thing I will recommend to everyone is don't start your startup with a best friend in future unless he or she is the co-founder. If you are looking to hire them as a subordinate under you, don't hire them because it will affect your friendship. I mean, it's for instance, if let's take an example. Hemant is my friend, and I just assigned him a role for content writing. He is good at content writing or web development. And at initial stage, you are not in a position to pay anyone. 90% of the case, people will work for a free for 1 to 2 years. Even like we are still working for a free. So what happens is कि you cannot take a strict action if he or she is not working. आप उनको बोल नहीं सकते. I mean, you cannot tell them कि why are you not working. You cannot shout at them. You cannot take strict action against them. And if you remove them from the startup because they are not working, your friendship, I like most likely if the chances are that you will not talk to each other. And this the same happened with me. I started as first startup with my best friend. We had a 17 years of a friendship. He was my best friend, and right now we are into a block list just for a simple reason. I made a mistake of building a startup with my best friend, and I cannot, move out of him from my startup. So what I did, I just left that startup and handed over all the things to him. So this is the first thing: never start your startup with the best friend unless he or she is the co-founder. If he or she is the co-founder, go for it. Uh, that uh, that uh, that's the thing. Second thing is key in initial level, you will be getting the team members from your college or from your social media. So from your college, you will get easy access. Like people know you. Okay, he or she is building something. He is my friend. We can join the startup. But when it comes to social media hiring, for instance, let's take an example. Okay, I'm starting a startup in the next 10 days. Why will you join? Like anyone can you answer me? Like if I am unknown to you, why will you start? And why will you join with me? Anyone? All right. So basically, what happens is कि uh, in initial stage, as I told you, कि when you are building a personal brand, so you know a lot of the people and you can approach them. You have the conviction, you know what you're trying to solve. So people will get in touch with you. Ki, okay, I know Ayush for a very long period of time. I know Diksha for a very long period of time. And if she is starting a startup, I can take a bet. I can join that startup. Uh, that's not a big deal. So at initial level, you will build a team through your college, your social media, or through your friends. That's the three way at early stage you will build a team. And after that, as you are into something like you are famous on social media, people will DM you, here is there any opening, I want to join. And you can just tell, okay, this is an unpaid thing. Do you want to join? And you are famous on social media, people will say, okay, yeah, I'm ready to join. Let me check the responses so that I can improve my skill. See, it's not about you should join the startup at an early stage to improve the skills. Joining a startup at an early stage is all about you are trying to solve something. At that, when you're trying to solve something at an early stage, your skills gonna improve at eventually. But you should never look to join a startup just to improve your skills. You just need to look for what the problem the founder is solving, what the problem the startup is solving. It's as simple as that. To get us experience of a startup culture, yeah, this sounds cool. You can get the experience of the startup culture, how the startup culture is working, but you will not get the experience of the startup culture at the initial level. For instance, if I'm starting a startup in the next 10 days and I got a team member for 10 people, so for 6 months, it will be a very roller coaster ride. You will not get any kind of experience. What we're trying to build, we will be in a delusion. What we should do, how we should do, uh, what we should, focus on, how we should divide the task among ourselves. So there will be a lot of things. So for a 6 months or for a 1 year, you will not be getting any startup culture unless the startup grows after a 1 year, and when you will be getting a lot of a burden about your work, you will get the startup culture experience. But at initial level, not to an extent. I mean, obviously, you will be getting uh, the culture experience, but not to an extent after a while. So this is about building a team, and second part comes here is handling the conflict. So what happens is, when you start a startup with your friends, when you start a startup with anyone, 99% chances are there that there will be conflict among the team. I mean, people will fight among themselves, people will not agree with you, people will not be ready to work with you, people will not be ready to submit the task on time. And as a founder, you will have to take that in a serious note. I mean, if someone is not working on a time, eventually you gonna lose as a founder, you gonna lose as a startup. I mean, if someone is not working in your team, it's not their loss, but it's your loss. It's the startup loss, not the personal loss. And how can you handle the conflict? Okay, so when it comes to handling the conflict, never ever take a quick judgment about these things. First thing, if someone is fighting among themselves, just talk to them on a one-to-one meet. Okay, just get on a call, just understand the situations, why the conflicts is happening. Just get into a deep thing. Why it is happening? How can I improve these things? Just get the point of view from the both sides. And if the department is interlinked, for instance, if I and Anushka is working in the same department and the conflict is happening among me and Anushka, and my task with Anushka and Ayush is aligned, like both of our tasks needs to be performed together. What you can do is you just check if we can separate both of the people like Anushka and Ayush from their tasks, and if they can work individually, if that is not handling your thing, so what you can do is just separate themselves from their work, and you can assign them a different work. I mean, just it's as simple that now वो बात करेंगे ना लड़ाई होगी first thing because you want to get your things done very quickly. Second thing is uh, uh, what you can do is कि if the conflict is not getting solved. As a founder, you cannot waste your energy in solving the conflict. If it's happening very frequently, just observe the things, why it's happening, who is causing this conflict. Just talk to them directly. Ki, hey, this is the fifth time or sixth time this conflict is happening, and I think this is not the right place for you. Maybe in the future we can work. Just politely, just say them directly. Ki, this is not the right place for us to work, and we are moving out of the team. I mean, you are being moved out of the team. Just remove them from the team. It's as simple as that. You cannot waste any energy on doing bad things. I mean, as a founder, you need to be free of your mental space. You need to be conserve your energy because your energy needs to be going every bit of a direction. So this is the way you can handle the conflict. Second thing is, I would recommend start reading the books when it comes to handling the conflicts because at the end you should know how to negotiate. I mean, this will help in every way. You should be, I mean, negotiation will help you land people in your team. Negotiation will help you get funding for the team. Negotiation will help you uh, ask the team to complete the task on a time. There are a lot of things that negotiation will help you in the long term. So as a founder, learn the negotiation skills. Read books. One book that I could recommend you here is uh, it was about actually I don't remember the book. It was on a negotiation basically. The book title actually I forgot. I will just share the link of the book that you can read. Uh, so start reading the books. And last thing is building and finding the co-founder. Finding the co-founder. How will you find the co-founder for a startup? What should you look for the co-founder? First thing, if you are a founder, you know yourself. If you can work with the team, I mean, when you will have a co-founder, 50-50% are chances that you will be taking the decision together. And if you don't want uh, interference from any third person, then don't go for hiring any co-founder. That will hamper both of you. If you don't want to take any suggestions from anyone, if you want to work freely, then don't go for the co-founder. Second thing is he know the person very rightly. I mean, uh, just don't take a call. Ki, okay, I know someone for 10 days, and I think he is a good, and I can offer him a co-founder because no one is there for me as a co-founder. This is the very wrong step in hiring the co-founder thing because you cannot judge a person, you cannot analyze the person unless and until you have made, you have spent time on for a 6 months. आप किसी के साथ ऐसे जज नहीं कर सकते. You should know her behavior, how he or she is handling the pressure, how he or she is handling the struggles, how she is uh, handling the team, what's his or her approach towards the problem, is her goal is matching with your goal, what's her stake on the things that you are taking on the point. So there are a lot of things while hiring a co-founder. It's as simple as that. Know that person very deep. I mean, in every possible way, from A to okay, Z, but know that person in a very deep manner, and then go for a call. Okay, he or she is fit for me. I think we should just onboard him as a co-founder. So this is about building, hiring a co-founder. After you have hired a co-founder, there comes a point where you will need to take a first step. First step is doing the research, talking to users, and uh, building the product. So building the product and talking to users is the same thing. Uh, and even you can say doing a market research is a kind of the same thing, is interlinked with the same thing. So when you as a founder at the early stage or even through your all lifetime, you will have to talk with the customers. You cannot escape that reality. It's as simple as that. Uh, for instance, you know that you want to solve that problem. How will you know that this problem is actually solving the problem? Will my end user use this problem if I'm going to launch in the market? And how can you verify that if the person is willing to use my product? So here comes a point. If I call someone, ki, hey, this is Ayush, founder from Skill Value. I'm building so and so. Will you be interested in purchasing this thing or purchasing this course, or will you be interested in using the product? So 99% of the people will not even smile on their face. They will think, okay, someone called from the company, I cannot be rude with them. I will just, sugarcoat the answer. I will just tell them, okay, yeah, I'm very interested. I will purchase the course. I will use the product. But that's not the case. You don't want the sugar-coated answer. You don't want yourself to feel happy. Okay, my user is saying something good about me. You should be ready to get the side about your product so that you can know where the product is lacking in the market. What you can do is what I follow generally is by talking to students communities. I just get on a call, on a one-to-one call. I start talking about their journey. For instance, I know what I'm trying to solve problem. Let's take an example. Okay, I'm trying to solve the courses problem or portfolio website maker problem. Okay. What I will do is, can we get on a call with the customer? I mean, the end user or the student. I will ask the questions related to that problem, the problem that I'm trying to solve. I will not tell directly, okay, this is what I'm trying to solve. Just tell your problem that I'm facing this problem. Do you think you are facing the same problem? What do you think? Why are you not able to overcome this problem? Uh, how can you overcome this problem? What do you think about this problem? So ask questions related to that problem instead of telling that you are building something, and analyze that answer that you're getting from the user. If the answer from the user that I'm getting is aligning with my goal, the problem that I'm trying to solve, will my product solve this user problem or the target audience? So what you can do is just divide your audience into three parts. First part, in an initial level, what you can do is the broader audience for everyone. Talk with the broader audience, categorize after, like, you talk with a lot of audience ki, you talk from a bus conductor to the student family, like every domain of the people. And then after getting on a call with the expert, I mean the audience, you can just categorize to, okay, 99% of the call I'm getting response from this particular community, like I'm getting response from the student and the rest is not interested in me. So in the third category, what you can do is just start talking with that third party, I mean the students community, those who are interested in the first part. So you can categorize among the end user, and you can just start getting onto one-to-one call. And but how will you get the end user? This comes up one. So you will get the user through your personal brand. It's as simple as that. You will get the user when you have a personal brand. You will get the user from the social media. You will get the user from the college. You will get the user from the offline market. As a founder, you should be shameless in talking about yourself, your product, but never share. Yeah, starting. Yeah, go ahead. Okay, it's there is no mantras for a startup to be successful. It's as simple as it's a hit and trial method. Every startup founder has their own journey, own way of building the startup, own way of differentiating the things among the market. But what you can follow as a not as a successful mantra, you can say, but what you can follow is the start reading books, build your personal brand, start doing the proper research. You should be, uh, doing the research in a very good manner. And as a startup founder, declutter your mind. Try to, delegate the task among the team. As a founder, you should be free to think about the different things, think about the other problems, think about uh, different ways of doing your startup. So what you can do is keep what I generally follow. Okay, let me give you an example. What I generally follow is keep. Uh, I have my sticky notes with here. I have a diary over here. ठीक है? I don't keep anything in my mind. I just write it down. Even if I had to call someone in my family, or even if I had to do some particular task, even if I had to post something on a Twitter or a LinkedIn for a team meeting or anything, I just write it down on a paper so that I can not take a load on my mind. My mind should be free. You can use Google Calendar or anything where you can write about your task, about your to do. Be efficient in managing the time. Be efficient in decluttering your mind and read as much books as you can. It's as simple as that. Start talking to the experts. Start talking to the student community, not a student community, but your user community basically. And never look take a advice from the person who has not done something. If I will have to take a advice from someone who has not done a startup and my problem is something different, this will not help you. Instead, what should be the approach of getting the right answer is get in touch with the founder who is building something. Just share your problem. Ki, hey, I am facing this problem. What do you think? What should I do? And most likely, the answer that you will get from the expert who has built something or who is building something, that will help you, not from the person who has not done something and just by reading the books, he is grabbing something from the book. This will not help you. Just get in touch with the expert who has done something,
Hello?
and this comes to in every domain, not even
Yeah, event
and not if
Rajpala.
you are introvert. Okay. See, if you are building a startup, na,
पूजानी मम्मी कॉल कर
you
मो
will
event
have to
Rajpai.
work on this thing. And there's nothing about introvert or extrovert. Introvert are the people who are talkative around the right people. You are not introvert in front of your best friend. You are not introvert in front of your family. So why are you introvert in front of a social media? No one knows you. No one will are gonna judge you. So why are you trying to just being an introvert? Are you trying to be in a delusion? Hey, I am introvert. How can I just overcome this? There's not a such thing, as an introvert or extrovert. I don't believe in this theory basically. Even I can say कि I am an introvert, I am an extrovert, but I like talking to people. There is no such thing as an introvert thing or extrovert thing. Just remove this from your mind. What you can do is to overcome this, start talking as much as you can. Just expose yourself on a social media, on a social life. What you can do is, for instance, you are meeting some person, okay, and you don't know what I should talk. How should I uh, take the conversation further? What I generally follow is, when I go in a meeting, my way of explaining myself is very different. I just go and say, "Hey, this is Ayush. I am a part-time smoker and a full-time drinker. Though I don't drink and smoke, but I just say." So instantly the people will, okay, अच्छा ये बंदा smoking करता है, अच्छा drink करता है, अच्छा ये वो आयुष है. So people will make illusion about yourself. Tanay Pratap wrote a thread on it. What he does is, when he goes for a social skills, what he does is, कि, hey, I am Tanay Pratap. Uh, I don't know how to drive. So you can just tell about something that you don't want to do. It's as simple as that. Just explain yourself. So don't keep in the mind कि, hey, I am introvert. मैं कैसे करूँ यार? मेरे को तो पता ही नहीं है मैं क्या करूँगा. ऐसे startup नहीं चलेगा. It's as simple as that. You will have to push yourself to the upper limit. There will be a point, where you will be hanging between the two problems and you don't know what should I do. And at that time you will have to take help from the expert, and you will have to take the help from the expert. If you are not taking help from the expert, most likely आप छोड़ दो फिर startup. If you are not able to overcome all these things. So don't believe in introvert thing or extrovert thing. I mean, it happens कि it's difficult for you as a initial level to talk to someone, how to initiate the conversation. But good conversation skills is as simple as that: be a good listener. And introvert are very good at listening to people. If you said, okay, Pratik said he's an introvert. Okay. So Pratik, you have a very good quality of not speaking much. And how this will help you, when you talk to a person, everyone wants to share their story. Everyone wants someone to listen their story, listen their problem, listen to their rants. And you are the person who people will love talking to you because you are there to listen their problem. You are there to hear their problem. So you are not an introvert, but you are a good conversationalist. Good conversationalist. So yeah, this is all about introvert, and yeah, that's what I prepared. If you want something else for me to cover up, just tell me. I mean, any questions or anything if you want. How do you deal with your competitors? Okay, this is an interesting question. Actually, there is saying collaboration over competition. Instead of doing the competition, just collab with that company. And if that company is not ready with the competition, I mean, see, if you are building a something product and your user is loving your product, okay, then you don't need to worry about the competition. If you are having 100,000 paying clients and your competitor is having 1 lakh paying clients, you don't need to worry about that. होता क्या है कि if I am building something and my user is loving my product, my service, instantly he or she will share about your company in her domain. And building a startup is not a 1 year game or a 2 year game. It takes a lifelong journey to get at a, at a stage where you can say, कि, yeah, my company is a unicorn or my company is at a stage that I can afford something else. So dealing with the competitor is key. Don't focus on dealing with the competitor, but instead focus on servicing your user. Uh, that's all what I can say about the competitor handle. If you start focusing on ki how should I deal with the competitor, you will lack the focus on building your own startup. You will just scroll ki, okay, my competitor is doing so this thing, I should implement in my startup. My competitor is doing this, I should implement in my this. Why he is just copying me? Why he is doing this? Why we are not able to do this? This is bullshit. Don't focus on the competitor part in initial stage. At an initial stage, focus on servicing your user. How can you make your end user happy? If your users are happy, your startup will be happy. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, I do
Yeah, any
have a
questions?
question.
Yeah, Richa.
So, like, how did you come up with the problem statement of your startup? Like, how did you decide that, okay, this is where I should start a community or I should start a, startup or business? How did you decide that?
Actually, my I started Skill Valley with a different goal, and right now where we are is totally different. When you will start your own startup now, you will start with the Apple, and at the end, when you get the product market fit, or at the end the users will start loving, it will be a pineapple. It's a very different story. Let me tell you my example. I started Skill Valley with a corporate training. Okay, last year in February, we were earning a huge amount of money. Like in the first month of a sale, we made around 80,000 by just doing corporate training. And then the lockdown happened. And during the lockdown, we were not able to deliver the corporate training. So we thought, okay, this is not working for us. And previously, my startup was on a student community. So I thought, okay, I have experience with the student community. Why not focus on the students part? So I started focusing on the student part. So we started with the corporate training, and in the May and April, we started focusing on webinars and workshops. We iterated from the corporate training to the webinars and the workshops. How did this iteration happen? We were sure that okay, the corporate trainings will not help because we were not eligible in the corporate training because we were lacking the connections in a huge companies. Second thing is that we were experienced in the students community. We were experienced in the not experienced you can say, but we had some kind of experience building the thing in a tech market. So when we started, we had just one idea: ki what if we can bring the best experts from the industry so that students can interact with them for free. Like we did a workshop with you guys, with the other colleges as well. We started with a webinar. Then we iterated, okay, we are doing webinar. Why don't we record a podcast with them? So we started doing a podcast. And then after interacting with the users, we started going on a call with the users. And then we thought, okay, there is also one problem. Ki, uh, we are from a tier 3 city And the major problem is when you want to learn something from the expert, the price for that course is very high. For an instance, if someone from a Google wants to teach you web development, and if he or she is launching her course for 20,000 rupees, how will a middle class family student afford that 20,000 course? And during that time, what happened is we thought of okay, we have a connection. What if we can leverage that connection and bring that course's price to a 2,500 or a 1,600 or a 1,700 price range with the best industry expert? So what happened is, at initial level we failed very badly. To be frank, what happened is we thought, okay, let's bring a course on a data structure. We brought the best industry experts. The mentors were from Walmart. The experts were from Google. We offered bunch of a thing which was a live classes and everything. Why did we fail? We failed because of the two prime reasons. We lacked on the distribution. We failed in building the distribution. We failed as in the marketing tool. The student community cannot differentiate what exactly the Skill Valley is trying to do. We were giving webinars, we were giving workshops, we were giving courses on a seven different topics, and students were not able to differentiate what we are actually trying to give them. So after failing in the market, what happened? Even I mean, the course registration for the data structure were less than five people. Like only three or two people registered for the course, and eventually we had to return their money back because we thought of okay, minimum 30 to 40 students will join our course. And at that time, we signed a bond with the experts that okay, if you are giving time, this is the minimum amount that we will pay you. We had to pay up almost 50,000 rupees from our pocket money because we had just signed a deal with them. And we failed during that time because of the two prime reasons. So, from corporate training to webinar, workshop, and failing the courses, we came to a conclusion. We started talking with the, I mean, there was a time, as a founder, I was thinking that let's give this course another chance, or let's just start focusing on the job thing. So what I did, I started talking with the expert. Okay, so I failed because of this prime reason. What should I do? So when you're starting something, just focus on one goal. So we iterated from courses part to cohort web development. Right now, we are working on web development cohort. We are just trying to build the leverage in the cohort part. We will be dominating in the cohort part, and then we will expand along the other domain. So basically, what you need to do is just focus on leveraging one domain and then expand along the other domain. So people should know okay, Dixa has started some startup and she is best at this topic. And then after getting a huge customer, you can expand along the other domain. So this is how we started. Like we iterated towards skill value type different approaches. Okay. Okay. How shall I manage both giving equal time and priority? I mean, can you tell me your daily routine and how do you do? I mean, how do you follow the things in your daily life and what you are trying to solve? I mean, at what stage your startup is at? I mean, at initial level, or do you have a team, or you are just trying to build something? I mean, you are into MBA college, okay, and are you working on your own startup, or it's into your mind that you want to start a startup, or do you have a team for that? Like, have you built a team, or you are just planning to start a startup? Okay, So you have the entire team and goal for the startup. So what you can do is, key, for instance, the academics for the MBA is very hectic. You will have to study a lot of the things. You will have to prepare presentations, so on and so forth. But at the end, you have chosen a path where you want to burn yourself at the end. So you know that you will not be getting time, but still you chose to start a startup. So you will have to make a time. I mean, there is no alternative way. You should be good at time management. What you can do is start doing what meetings with the team, decide an agenda for the whole week, and what you can do is do a team meeting on Sunday and decided that for this entire week what we will be focusing on it, and divide your tasks, and between the time you will have to make time for yourself. It's all about building a time management thing. What I generally follow is, what I will say is, I'm building a true startup. How I'm managing my time, I wake up at 5, and not daily. I mean, say I will wake up. Maybe sometimes I wake up at 9, maybe at 11, or maybe at 12, or maybe even at 5 p.m. Depending upon when did I go for a sleep. What I follow is generally is after waking up, don't check your phone for 3 hours. I don't check my phone for 3 hours. No phone, no screen, nothing. For 3 hours, what I focus is, I focus on myself. Like what I generally do is I read books. Either I started doing meditation recently, so I started focusing on meditation, or you can work on your skills. So during that time, after waking up for 3 hours, you can work on your startup part. You can just start focusing on okay. So I am building a startup, and for the next 3 hours after getting up, I will not be doing it apart from all these things. So make a to-do list day before going to bed, and after getting wake up, just start working on yourself, because you don't have the time. You will have to go for a college. You cannot skip the college part. You will have to make a lot of research papers, a lot of project presentations basically. So MBA is a very hectic thing, and if you have chosen the path from MBA to startup, you will have to make a time. There is no alternative way, boss. I mean, why did you choose that startup, and obviously you are confident enough कि okay, I will manage the time, then you will make the time. It's as simple that कि हिंदी में कहावत है, कहते हैं कि अंदर से जब आग लगी हो ना, तो टाइम अपने आप निकल जाता है। आई मीन, अगर मन हो करने का तो कैसे भी कर लोगे आप, रोते जागते गाते सोते कैसे भी टाइम निकाल लोगे। तो इट्स एज सिंपल दैट वी हैव दैट बर्निंग फायर इनसाइड यू।
I have a question actually. So far we actually heard like what we did, like how we are gonna get through the struggles and all of that. If you're starting a business, how we're gonna work through it. But we are actually enthusiastic. Like, what is your business? We wanna learn, like, listen from you about your business, about your ideology, everything.
See, as of what learnings I can share from my startup journey, all I can say is, first thing I told about not starting a startup with your best friend because of obvious reason. First thing.
Yeah, that's true.
Second thing is, uh, what I follow is I read a lot of books. Like for this quarter, like from Jan to April, I have read almost 33 books as of now. I mean,
Wow.
for a week I read 1 to 2 books, almost 1 to 2 books. Like I went to a Delhi and I purchased almost 24 books in a one day. Like I
Oh
am a
my.
bookaholic person. I read a lot of books. So my all of my money goes into buying books or buying my t-shirts. Like I love buying t-shirts basically.
That's
So
okay.
basically first thing is focus on that thing. Second thing is when you are building a startup, there might be a chance where your team will recommend uh, another person. Okay, hey, this is my
Yeah.
friend. He or she knows content writing or any sort of a things, and he or she can be a good fit for my company. Before hiring directly, just check for the fact if he or she is
Yeah.
dating or not. Okay, for the prime reason, if he or she is dating and if they are in the team, there will be a chances that your work will affect, the team culture will
Totally
affect.
gonna change everything. Yeah, true.
Yeah. So either there will be a cases. See, exceptions are always there. Even in my company, there is exception. I totally accept it. But most of the cases, what I have seen is कि when you hire a person who are dating with each other, the chances are most likely कि this will going to mess up everything. So
The
don't
world is
hire
gonna go upside down completely.
100%. So this is the third thing. Fourth thing is like I started building my personal brand very lately, and I've missed a lot of opportunity for not doing a personal brand rightly, for not being shamelessly promoting myself on a social media. So be shameless in promoting yourself, and you know don't fear about anything, man. Like you have chosen the path of fearless journey, so you should not fear about anything. You should be courage enough to take any harsh step, and don't think about anyone. At the end, startup journey, being on the top is a very lonely journey. You will not have a friends, you will not have a good relations with your family, or you might be very lonely at the top. And you just need to accept that fact. Okay, I have chosen this path. I know, I accept this fact, and just move on. Just don't care about all
Yeah,
these
you
things.
gotta give up on things which are not like on your
Exactly.
goal. You
Just
gotta,
save your energy.
yeah, that's true.
So save your energy. It's all about how much energy you are going to save. It's as simple as that. Because as a founder, your energy should be going in scaling your startup, not into a bad things. Not into a bad thing. I am very privileged. Ki on a personal basis, I have a very good friend who are ready to support me. I mean, whenever I'm in a problem, I just call them. Ki, hey, I'm facing this issue. I'm not feeling well. What should I do? I just go on a rant about my problems. But there might be a chance ki you don't have a friends to share about all these problems. What you can do is ki just write it on a paper. For instance, if you are feeling frustrated, uh, okay, this is not working for me. What I generally follow is I just write on the paper about my frustration. I just clear this paper and just I throw it outside. I mean, just I don't keep it in my mind. If there is something that I cannot share with anyone, I just write it on a paper and just tear the paper and just I throw it out in the dustbin. It's as simple as that.
You gotta
And
just deal
start it
with the
back.
situation. Yeah.
I mean, you just need to deal with yourself. I mean, it's as simple as that. You will have to deal with yourself. There's
Totally agree.
no
Yeah.
other alternative.
So tell me a little bit about your business which you started up.
Okay, so I mean, right now I'm building two startups side by side. Speak Up is not a startup. I can say it's still in a research phase. So I told you about Skill Valley. Let me tell you about Speak Up. Speak Up, as I told you, it's a platform where we are helping girls to speak up about their problems. So okay, so there are a lot of things. As a man, buying a condom. I mean, it's a irrelevant word to use here, but it's buying a condom is like pride as a man. I mean, we buy a condom as a very pride thing. Okay, we just bought a condom, and buying a sanitary pad is like a shame. We just wrap it on a black, black film, and just we go, okay, this is like just we bought a sanitary pad. I interacted with almost 400 to 700 girls in a rural area, and you will be shocked to hear that out of a 700 girls, only 50 or 60 girls have heard about sanitary pads. They
Oh.
haven't used the sanitary pads. They haven't used menstrual cup. They don't know about